Good afternoon all. Welcome to today's panel discussion on solving the AI skills crisis. So more than 80% of the GCC leaders believe that AI is going to fundamentally change their workforce skill requirements over the next 3 years. Yet, only 28% of them believe that they are actually ready for this change. This gap actually tells us everything. AI is evolving faster than we are. As you all are aware, organizations everywhere are grappling to cope up with the change, trying to reskill their teams, building AI fluent organizations. But the fact of the matter is most of them are only reacting rather than leading. And the skills shortage is only growing wider with time. So with this context in mind, I'm thrilled to be joined by a group of experts who are not watching this transformation from the sidelines, but are actually in it, leading their organizations towards this change. So my first question is to Yasmeen. We talk a lot about the AI talent gap. But what do you see as the real skills crisis? Is it about quantity, quality, or lack of direction in the organization?
Thank you so much, Megha, for that question. And before I answer, thank you, Zinnov, for having me here. And it's a pleasure to see everyone and be here. So to answer your question, I think the crisis today is, you talked about quantity, quality, and direction. I think largely I would lean on direction because while we all are in this space of AI and figuring out what AI is, and I know we've heard a lot of panel discussions, fantastic ones over the last 2 days, where we're talking about making fancy presentations and saying, okay, I think I know Chat GPT, so I know AI. I think there's so much more to discover. Because if you look at skill set or if you look at just talent, I think we are abundant. We have abundant supply of talent in India. And if you look at NASSCOM's recent report of 2025, it says only 25% of the skilled workforce in India is project ready. What does that mean? What does it translate to? It essentially means, who are these folks who just not know Python, but these are data scientists or data engineers, and who are these folks or Snowflake? It's about, can they not just build designs, but can they build a design to bridge the gap to make business sense? So I think if you look at it, I think really the blueprint for AI is something that we all need to work on. Organizations are very intentional about doing it, but what does that blueprint look like from a strategy perspective, from what kind of people we want, or what are we looking at? I mean, do we want to set up an AI hub? I think we're all talking about that, but I think we're saying start with small steps. Like, what are your use cases? What are you looking around your work and your schedules that you see an opportunity to do that? And governance, because we talked about cyber threats, risk and safety of data, which can cost us millions. So how are we prepared for that? And I think over and above everything, Megha, I think it's also the mindset. Sometimes we tend to be order takers. You tell us, we'll do that. Do we have AI literacy enough? Do we all understand the language, or is it only a bunch of 10 people in that organization who are there? How do you extend that SME knowledge and not make it a single point of failure? How do you expand and collaboratively evolve at an enterprise level, not just one team, but let's say HR, finance, many such teams that we could do. So I think mindset is to be proactive about it, not reactive. Don't wait for instructions. Don't ask for permissions. Leadership is there, but I think if you go with the business case, if you can say what impact it creates, I'm sure the doors are open and people are willing to listen. I think India has a great opportunity, like Pari was saying. It's once in a century. So let's make the most of it, I feel, and there is enough scope for us to do that. Let's not be order takers, but ask the why, the what, the how, lead from the front and lead the way. I think India has a huge opportunity to become the AI capital of the world. Thank you.
Awesome, Yasmeen. Kavita, over to you. What's your take on this subject, and where do you think is the real crisis emerging from?
100% aligned with her. But I think, obviously, thank you for having me here. And I'm giving a disclaimer before only. I have a filter problem, so I'm just going to say it the way I actually say it. Exactly to what you said, I don't think we have a volume problem. And to exactly what you said, we don't have a gap. It is a crisis. And the reason why I'm saying crisis is not to create panic or to dramatize it, but for the simple reason that we need to act on it very, very urgently, right? And very practically, let's look at it. All of us have gone to colleges, right? How many of us are from engineering colleges here? And how many of us can keep their hand on the heart and say that all our engineering colleges are, as of now, ready with the AI skills? None. Okay, that answers the question. So you have to start from exactly the pipeline. I'm not even going into the schooling level where we are saying make AI mandatory. If you look at the colleges of today, right, we are still working on a playbook which is from the 2015s. And when I say 2015s, I'm talking about the pre-AI era. Our content is old. Our teaching methodology has not evolved. Our tools are not up to date. Do we have the relevant and the most latest AI tools for our students? I will not be surprised that if the students who are passing out of the colleges have not even worked on, let's say, a real world data set, leave aside the idea that have they adopted or have they really put an AI model in place. So when you look at all these things, you realize that there is a huge gap, right? You were talking about organizations. I'm sure about my organization. I'm talking about yours also. When we talk about the entire product development, everything is happening in weeks. The sprints are now on weeks. And we are feeding those sprints with students who have studied the same thing for 4 years, right? And we expect the change to happen. So at the end of the day, they are learning as of yesterday, but you want them to work as of tomorrow, right? So the gap is huge. So how is it that you think we can solve it? Now, the easiest way to say is, fine, not my problem, system problem, right? But now just to go one step further and let's look at the system of our own hiring. Plain and simple. How are we hiring today? When we go to colleges, what are we looking at? It's still the degree. It's still the marks. It's still topper. It's still let's go to the top branded colleges. Or let's go to the same colleges which we went to for the past 10 years. Why? Because their retention rate is high. Right? That is how we are hiring. Our searches are still keyword based on job sites. So your filters are outdated, but your capabilities have moved. So how is it that you're actually going to hire? So while we can't, I'm not saying that I am able to change the world and dunya badal denge types and I will go and change the education system. How many of us are ready to actually look at our own hiring systems? So the problem is not with the people. The problem is with the entire system being outdated end to end, right? And till the time we don't really work on it, this entire gap will go on increasing. We were talking with our team, there are going to be 84 million AI jobs by 2030. Yes. We don't have so many AI skilled people, right? We still want to follow the linear path of hiring, 10th, 12th, 4-year colleges, and then whatever, right? AI does not work like that. AI does not care what you have done for the past 10 years of your life. AI wants to know, do you understand today and can you connect it to tomorrow? Right? But we don't have that. We're losing out on an entire set of talent because we're not even looking at them. Why? Because maybe they never went to colleges. Maybe their education came from YouTube. Maybe their education came from online forums. But we will not take them. Why? Because they don't fit in our template. Right? And I completely agree. Bolna aasan hota hai at the end of the day. We all have mandates. Right? But somewhere we're just trying to see that can we start the change somewhere. So long story short, not a volume problem. We don't know how to identify talent. We don't know how to measure talent. We don't know how to reward talent. Yes. We don't. Let's accept it. And the last one, obviously, is volume is not the problem. Velocity is the problem. Validation is the problem. So let's call it the way it is.
So building on what Kavita was saying, my next question is to you, Sidhartha. Are traditional hiring channels, like she mentioned, still working for your organization, or are you reinventing the way you attract and retain AI fluent talent?
So I agree with her in parts. So that's a different discussion. For us at Dentsu, we've been in the forefront of technology transformation because Dentsu is all about advertising, media services. So technology, personalization, the amount of ads that you see in your YouTube channels, and it is changing every day for us. So for us in Dentsu, we all about whether we are ahead of the curve or we're going to be behind. So for us, from a lot of our hiring talent is largely driven by what we want to do in future, because how do we make sure we have people who understand, have curiosity as a skill set? For example, how many kids actually have curiosity to explore something? You can give them the tools, but if they don't have the necessary attitude to use them, you can't do anything. So our hiring screens are different in that sense. We look for imagination, we look for creativity, we look for how they will leverage something and actually train themselves up a lot more.
The softer skills part.
Elements of how do you learn on your own is something we need to get very comfortable with, because we have this traditional mindset, and going back to what Kavita is saying, traditional mindset of run trainings, teach, get them in a classroom, teach them. But how can we make infrastructure which allows them to train at their pace, at their will? Because these are the same generation that learns from YouTube most of the times. And a lot of companies will not allow them to go to YouTube channels on their network. That's odd, right? This is the generation. My son had a English literature exam today, and he was doing Julius Caesar on YouTube yesterday night. And I was like, what the heck is happening here? He said, yeah, this is the way I can't understand my ma'am, so I'm going by YouTube. This is a real example of yesterday night. So imagine the same kid now not allowed to go to these channels in an office network. How will they learn? You have to allow the infrastructure to go along with what is needed. We are talking about Perplexity, for example, on your phones, on your WhatsApp. You have Meta AI on your WhatsApp. These are the same kids that are learning faster than anybody else because you top. And so that's the infrastructure we're allowing people to experiment with. We're allowing them to innovate. We're allowing them to train. So our ability to hire is not necessarily by the tier 1, tier 2, or we do hire for that kind of skill set because, as I said, I differ on some elements. There are certain deeper subjects of data science require somebody to understand statistics and economics. So you can't get away with it, right? If I need somebody to understand how pricing works on an online store, pricing strategies need to be understood. So there are elements there, but I think we're always thinking ahead because for me, what is needed today may not be useful tomorrow. So how do I make it happen? So our approach is a lot more about getting good talent with good attitudes, the learning attitude, the agility around it, and then allowing them the freedom to operate on themselves and learn on their own with their friends, with their seniors. That infrastructure is for us to give them. And I've seen success with that because people love to be on their own journeys. They like their learning paths to be self-paced, not necessarily driven by a mandate from an L&D leader or an HR leader.
Awesome. Megha, as AI is reshaping roles across functions. So how are you aligning your internal job architecture to this change? If you can just elaborate. I know you have been extensively working in this area. If you can share your experience around it.
Absolutely. So I think to begin with that, thank you all for being here and thanks Zinnov for inviting us. So this, I think like Megha said, it's a topic very close to my heart right now. It's something I've been actively working on for the last 1 full year, is the whole career framework itself. We all have levels in our organization and we have jobs. In this room, do you all know the number of jobs that exist in your organizations right now? Who knows the number of jobs, the hard skills that are required for it, the soft skills that are required for it, and the definitions of those skills, right? Because that is the foundational work for us to even start thinking about what else can we do with AI, not AI, and all the other conversations are secondary. So what we are doing at Nasdaq for the last year in partnership with Rao, we have Karthik sitting here, is kind of redesigning, redefining our career frameworks I think the last, we spent a good 6 to 8 months just going back to business, also because we acquired organizations, different jobs came into our business to see what jobs do we have. And then we classified and reclassified, and we have like career family groups, we have career families now, we have skills, soft skills and hard skills. So at least now it's like the basis of the foundation that we need to build on is a structure that we have clear. And using that data is what now is going to be this next step, which is going to be the next year of transformation for us. We are going to go AI first as a strategy next year. Again, we are all trying to figure what AI means, and I think we were just laughing about it before this, that no one knows what it is or what we are going to do with it, but we're all here talking about it. But I think we are taking a pragmatic approach to it. We knew we started seeding stuff last year. This year is very basic Copilot, basic AI training. Next year is when we get aggressive. And in that time is when the people team has been tasked to create the entire framework. So we have the data to power us to do what we want. So the next thing we're going to do is, with all the career families and all of that we have, we're going to again work with Rao on this project to kind of say, what are the tasks and responsibilities of people in these jobs? And then go down to the level of saying, what of this can be automated, and what of this is AI, and what of this is simple automation. And then we get into what skills we need for AI and all of this. It is at least a year's worth project to even get to a place where we will be able to action on reskilling in AI. So it's basically, we have one funda across Nasdaq, which is go slow to go fast. You can't already be running and then try to figure stuff.
And I'm sure I was also talking to you regarding this offline, that the next step would be to also link your compensation and decide on the compensation of some of the skills which do not even exist today, perhaps.
Correct.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So how are you doing going about that?
Correct. And that is a conversation we have almost every single day. I'm sure everyone here and there will agree. Compensation is tricky. So of course we've started hiring for AI, though we don't have a dedicated family to AI, because when I went to the business saying we need an AI family because that's the new thing, they're like, AI is a skill. AI is not a career family. It's not a job in itself. It's how job gets done. So we need to distinguish those two and not necessarily make it a job in itself. So I think for compensation, there is no external data necessarily available to say where you go to anyone. Will Star Wars Watson is our partner. They don't have necessary data, which is again relates to fintech and the very specific work we do. So we are making our own judgment calls, creating our own internal salary bands, and we'll continue. Now that we have our structures slightly well defined, we are creating our own bands, and then as we evolve, the market evolves, I think we will cross-validate and get to a better place. But at this time, we're just going with our own internal.
You're actually setting the benchmark for a lot of other organizations out there. Great work. So Kavita, you touched slightly upon this, but what are you willing to unlearn about talent when it comes to hiring in the AI first world? So for example, would you hire someone with no degree but perfect AI prompting skills?
You will disagree with me again? I think I will not answer this as, will I not hire someone from college and will I go for someone who has a degree? I think what you need to ask, I need to ask myself, and I'm not putting it to all of you, am I ready to experiment against the default system? I'm not saying change it, experiment it. It's not a tweak, it's going to be a huge shift. But we need to start somewhere. Like you have started, we have started. But the question which all of us need to ask is, are you ready to experiment? And I agree that I can say yes, 100%, because I have to say it, right? As in, I can't say anything else here right now, but the fact remains that no, it is difficult for me to unlearn. We are obsessed with pedigree. We are obsessed with degrees. Forget professional. Personally also, if I meet someone who's finished school, the first question you ask is, which college? It's in our system, right? So the thing is, am I ready to unlearn that? Am I ready to say that, okay, just because the person did not go to college does not mean the person is stupid or dumb, right? Am I ready to do that? I don't know. When I move forward, I have to be ready to the fact that, yes, I have to look at these non-traditional channels. Internally, I have to go back and see how is it that I'm going to upskill my people. And again, upskill, बहुत use हो गया है, right? But the thing is, 1 year ago, we would have said AI literacy. Now the question is, are you doing something with it, right? The talent is there with you. From AI literacy, have you gone to adoption? All of you have enough and more, all of us. Okay? All of us have enough and more business problems. If you can have the talent which can work on it with the SMEs that we have in the ecosystem, why can't we take them forward? So the idea is again simple. And while I'm asking you this, the entire question is to me. Can I go away from degrees to demonstration of capability? Can I go away from pedigree? Can I get away from resumes? Can I get away from filter searches and experiment? Because I personally believe that if you get that one success story in your organization, the system will change. Not immediately, but it will take time, but it will. So I am ready to unlearn. It's difficult. One day at a time, slowly, right? I think that was.
Yeah, Yasmeen, would you like to build on that? What do you think AI qualified means in the context of this AI first world?
Yeah, absolutely, Megha, and great inputs, Kavita. And I think it's contextual for me. I think it's not that one size fits all. It depends on what we're hiring for. For example, I can talk about NextGen that I was part of for 6 years. Healthcare company, we wanted to create a COE. Again, of data scientists, data engineers, because we had a great product which could reduce doctors and patients interaction, like, scribe that conversation and reduce the time for the doctor to spend, so that in that time save, which was 2-3 hours, he or she could see 4 or 5 patients more. So we're making it more efficient for everyone. So when we were hiring, we were like, what are we looking for, right? First of all, is this skill available in the market? What is your definition of, okay, I want to build a COE? What is this person going to do? And that was another part of the crisis, right? To say, do the teams know what they need to work on? You're saying, okay, go do AI, go do this, but what exactly does it translate to? I don't think we had answers fully to it, but, to really keep coming back to the war room and saying, this is what it is, and there are 5 other stakeholders, and, your CXOs and, your next level engineering leaders, trying to create. Everyone has great intent, but is everyone able to translate what you really want? Eventually, when we wanted, then we said, should we hire a data engineer first or a data scientist first? What is this person going to do? Because hiring is fine, but what work will they do? I mean, they're going to get frustrated and leave, right? And that's bad press for the organization. So I think we undid some of those. We realigned ourselves, and then our product is working really well. Then we identified what we wanted, and then we went on. So baby steps, right? Taking clear steps of what we wanted. So yes, in those roles, we would need somebody to think out of the box, to be very creative, to be hungry to experiment and try it out. Maybe pedigree doesn't matter. Even your OpenAI experts they have college dropouts, so nothing wrong with them. I think it's a mix of both that we would need. Depends on what role and context. And earlier we would hire for problem solvers. I think we are shifting that to problem identifiers in the AI world. Because unless you don't know what you're solving for, what are you going to solve? That's your use case. Thank you.
Okay. So Sidhartha, next question is to you. Are academic programs aligned with what the industry needs, or are they still playing curriculum catch-up?
I think there is catch-up.
Okay.
And where I was disagreeing with her, I should bring it up, I have been in the Skills Council of NASSCOM for the last 10 years. Okay. I have seen how we created a ministry for skills development for the first time in 2015. We never had a skills development ministry at central government levels. So there is initiative, there is funding, there is right people in the room. I think there is lack of commitment on the industry side. You can't do curriculum development in isolation. You can't do it. I have personally spent enormous amount of energy, time, teaching my own college what we need to change in the curriculum. Luckily, my university was deemed they could take my feedback. They took 1 year to change their coursework. 1 year internal approvals in a private university. it takes time for these things to materialize. You're talking about 1 year later, and then you'll take 4 years for the guy to come out with that kind of output. So these changes are slow, but they will be driving those changes. Unfortunately, the speed of innovation in technology is so fast, the curriculum will never catch up. Eventually, what you see in US universities is they will run electives only. They will have base course and you have majors and minors. Eventually, we have to get to that point where you have minors in line with market requirements, but they can't do it in isolation. And my request to all of us here is to contribute. Contribute with what you can help them with use cases. They need people to tell them what examples can I give. The teachers need to get upskilled. So there are 2 or 3 programs where you can actually help them by contributing your use cases. Obviously, data can't be shared, but you can actually contribute to the curriculum development. There is a lot of work happening at both the school level as well as at the university level in India, largely. And NASSCOM has been driving a lot of conversation. But to your pointed question, we are not able to catch up because of the need, the volume, and not every college can do the way that they can do. They need funding, they need teachers to teach AI, they need teachers to teach data scientists. How will you find those if we don't contribute our time to teach? So we have to go to the campuses wherever you have graduated from, at least do that much. Go and teach and help them with use cases, help them with content. That's all is needed. And I think in my side, personally, that's my personal contribution, that I want to help them with whatever I know. But at the Dentsu level, I'll go back to my company effort on this slide. We've been working at 2 levels, school level as well as at the university levels, where we are actually going and helping them, talking about marketing, sales, AI, data analytics, because these are our sweet spots. And we are helping with whatever through our NGO partners, we're getting to talk about these topics because there is so much you still have to come. But I don't think we can leave it to the UGC and the government of India. They have the money, but they don't have the volunteering power. They need experts, and we are the experts. And we can't keep ourselves away from it. We have to contribute.
Brilliant work, Sidharth. Should compliment you for doing so much. Yeah. So our research says that 61% of employees say that they feel overwhelmed by the pace of AI tools, updates, and the pressure to constantly upskill because there's too much of upskilling, reskilling, polyskilling in the air. So Megha, my question to you is, are you seeing a kind of a fatigue setting within your teams? And if yes, what are you doing to address that?
So I think there's no denying, I think everyone is fatigued. I think including all of us. I think it's so overwhelming. So I was having a conversation with one of the business leaders, and he was saying every 3 hours there's something new coming, or there's an enhancement coming to something that already exists. You can't play catch up. I think it's impossible to know everything of everything that's happening in the technology world. Right? So to answer your question, yes. And again, how are people perceiving it? I think the way Gen Z is accepted versus the way millennials accept it is very different. The reactions are different. I think Gen Zs are digital natives. I think for them, it's easier. They don't necessarily get so overwhelmed as some of the millennials, including me, right? So, and again, I think in that, I think I'll just go back to what Vijay was sharing yesterday as well. I think the mid-career folks are the ones that are most fatigued and also fearful of what's happening. With what's going to happen to me, what's going to happen to the job I'm doing. And I think that's more kind of fatiguing them out rather than just the technology itself. So I think from what we're doing, I think we're still trying to figure what we need to do, honestly. We are taking baby steps in training our people in AI, identifying pockets where we want to implement AI. There's lots of strategies, but again, I think nothing's happening tomorrow. Right. It is a 3 to 5 year plan. And I think by the time we get to some of these places, we have a vision, but the steps in the process are yet to get fully defined. And I think from the way our culture is, it's always people first. It's not going to be technology. I mean, of course, technology is important, clients are important, but our people are equally important. So it will be a very well thought through and a human first approach to any decisions that will get made.
Sidharth, with every company now becoming an AI first company, what do you think are some of the AI skills which are becoming foundational? And I'm not just talking about tech roles, but it is across functions, be it HR, procurement. What are some of those non-negotiable AI skills?
We love to call ourselves as AI first, but reality we all know. Right? Yeah. So, thank you. So, I think it's positioning, which is good, even from our perspective at Dentsu, because I represent Dentsu here, and I want to say this, that we have a very strong challenge in the marketplace. Right now, if you look at agencies who were traditionally always building ads for large brands, you have kids coming out of nowhere creating some fantastic ads that get viral. So how do you compete with that kind of crowdsourced environments? So from our internal perspective, it's a survival issue. We have to adopt AI. We have to see it in everything we do. And one of the things that I've seen in Dentsu is that it's very democratized. It's not left with the business. It's something that everybody's asked about. Why are you not thinking about using ChatGPT, or why are you not using this for this? So for example, within our own small world here in India, my hiring engines, we have a bot interviewing the level 1. We are experimenting, and that's the most important cultural element that I would want to call out. You have to be open to experimentation, as she was rightly saying, and also be okay with failures.
Yes.
Because if you have an intolerant failure culture, people will not experiment, and then nothing will come out. So allowing for failure to happen is a good way to figure out what else can I do with it. So for example, we're experimenting with, we have done a couple of experiments with this AI interviews done by a bot, first level, so that my fatigue of my managers of all the time interviewing goes away. And we've seen some good success. Our win rates have been higher, conversions are higher. So we're experimenting with that. A lot of chatbots that we can internally create. And these are college projects for people, right? So we get our interns from colleges and then tell them, build a chatbot, use whatever you need for the finance team, because people keep asked, they have 15 questions every finance guy gets asked every day. Headcount kitna hai, revenue kitna hua, kal kitna, bench kitna hai. So, if there is a way to access the data, and data quality is always a challenge, but we are fixing that on the sites, but getting that ability for us to bring, they don't know the AI part, they don't know how to do a chatbot. A finance guy will not, he's expert in financial planning, but if I get him a nice intern who can really help him, he'll get comfortable with it. The whole element of getting comfortable with something which is technology-led is something that we're experimenting. And I think we've seen some good success with HR and finance, largely. Procurement, not so much, we've not reached there, but it's a journey.
So we are almost towards the fag end of the conversation, but coming up your way are 3 rapid fire questions, which I want each one on the panel to answer. So I'll start with Yasmeen. What is one overhyped skill and one underrated one in today's talent market? Just one each.
I think the overhyped skill is maybe prompt engineering. I can just say same. So good. Okay. So yeah, I think we know ChatGPT, so we know everything.
Yeah.
But it just I think we are spoiled somewhere, or I think we become lazy that we feel ChatGPT should understand what I'm even not saying and just deliver it. But I think
Underrated one?
underrated is I think problem writing, because I think it's the same prompt, right?
Yeah.
I think how effectively you're using it. If you don't ask the right questions, you don't get the right answers.
Got it.
And I think that's what it is.
So Kavita will just ask you the second part of the question. Okay. Underrated?
Yeah, I think underrated is the ability to convert or understand how your AI solutions are going to solve a problem,
Okay.
how relevant it is to the business or etc.
Okay,
And
relevance.
second one, because I didn't get to answer this one. Okay? Piece of collaboration, right? You cannot
Okay.
have AI solutions built in isolation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be in the culture. It has
Integrated.
to be in your entire ecosystem. It can't be someone's domain. That's true.
Siddharth?
I'm a big fan of soft skills, so I will always say we overhype the tech skills generally.
Okay. Yeah.
Because coding skills, you might know Python, but that's not the world.
Right.
Right? So
Right.
overhyped always. I would
Yeah.
look for logical reasoning more than anything else.
Okay.
Analytical reasoning more than anything else. So underhyped is logical reasoning.
Logical.
And obviously ability to work with people. So you
Yeah.
can't do this alone.
Collaboration. Yeah.
Finally.
Megha?
I don't have a tech skill, but I think it's basically assuming that AI can solve all our problems is
Yeah.
overrated.
Yeah.
And underrated is, I think, similar to what Sidhartha was saying. I think it's the subject matter expertise and the domain skills that humans can bring to the table and not just a bot.
Okay. Okay, the next question is, which is that one skill you think will not stand the test of time, maybe become irrelevant over the next 5 years? We'll start with Megha.
Yes. So I'll go the easiest, which is routine repetitive tasks,
Yeah.
which is your data entry jobs and all your basic Excel downloads and all of that will just
Okay, so we are not
exist.
gonna use Excel 5 years
We
down
will
the line.
use Excel, but it's gonna go in the back end.
Never do away with Excel.
Yes.
Yeah, so Siddharth?
I think whatever I have seen, largely research will go away.
Yeah.
A lot of people spend lives doing primary research, secondary research. Insight generation will go away in a way because it will get automated, generated either through LLM models or built-ons with Excel on top.
Yeah.
So you give the Excel to the chat GPT
Yeah.
and they will analyze it for you.
Right, got it.
I
Kavita?
think one is always saying the repetitive tasks will go away, whether it is across domains. So you can't say it will stay with me or it will not. Everything mundane, repetitive, simple will go away. You mentioned research, right? You talk about syntax memorization. You talk about coding, entry level. I'm not saying it will go away, but all these things will get impacted. So anything and everything, when you start with it and it's repetitive, it's simple, it's mundane, I think all of it will touch all domains across.
Got it. Anything specific that you have as a skill?
Mostly covered by all, but I think like maybe QA,
Yeah.
line by
Okay.
line testing, customer service queries. I think we already are seeing examples of that. I don't know, this sounds scary, but like a receptionist, I'm not saying that's a role, it's not a skill, because I remember our CEO once visited a customer's place and there was nobody at the reception. There was just a button at the door which he had to press, and it just told him next steps. He said, okay, just key in your name. And he said, okay, you have a scheduled appointment with the CEO. And then he just walked in and then walked out. That's it. I mean, I don't know, but I don't know what AI will bring to us,
Yes.
but I think we just have to go with the flow.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the energy and the insightful discussion. So, yes, definitely I'm opening up the floor for questions.
All
Yes,
questions to
go
her.
ahead.
No. Wrong.
Please go ahead.
I will first compliment this panel. Actually, it's been 1.5 day. We all talking about AI, right? You guys were the first one who actually said you just don't know what it is.
No, thank you.
But yeah, you're right.
We
You're
were
right.
honest.
I sit on the other side, and I came in specifically to understand from an HR point of view.
Yeah.
I sit in the business side, and I've been in this problem right now. The AI skills and how to kind of help it. I go back to I have an artistic self. So for me, AI means is art. When you don't know anything, you just call it a spectrum. A lot of things are there. Yeah. But what I understood is how my kid helps, and in my company, I'm actually in the kind of fight. And I thought this is the best session to come. Is emotional intelligence comes to be the most important.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If we don't have emotional intelligence, we cannot actually build.
Yeah.
Or
Right.
we cannot even consume out of it.
Absolutely.
And I've seen in my house, and that's where I'm in the engineering side, I'm trying to build the tools. But I'm fighting with my company to say that just by giving Ferrari car, nobody's going to help this. Prompt engineering is probably overhyped, but consuming it, you need to understand from a human element.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of people, partnering with a lot of product teams, a lot of things. So the reason I'm saying this is not a question, but just the way I see it. Does that reflect what you guys are into the problem?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we should put that skill as most important.
Can I take that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Business
and I'm
will
sure.
not probably add it. I'm
Yeah.
saying a problem from my end,
Yeah,
because business will always ask about
Results.
results, right.
HR should force people to
Right.
every region should have an emotional intelligence.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you for your question. Sorry, didn't get your name.
Nivas.
Nivas, thank you, and sorry to know that. I mean, you're looking for a specific thing, but it's great, and I think thank you. It's so important. I think from my experience, and I'll open it to my co-panelists as well. But the reason I jumped in is because something very close to my heart is just not the what and the why, but it's the how. Right? It's how you deliver something, how you treat, how that system is talking to you. How's the employee experience through the whole thing? It has to be centered, that the system should have curiosity or sensitivity to know what question is being asked and how to get that. So emotional intelligence, absolutely the number one thing. It's just how you treat people, how you feel how you make the workplace inclusive. And I think if we don't have emotions, we are not humans. I mean, then we just can leave AI to rule the world. So absolutely agree with you that it's very important. So
We have time for one more question?
I think we should.
No? Oh, somebody's already started. Okay, the last question.
Yeah, sure. My name is Saurabh. I am HR partner in G Healthcare. I have a specific question for Kavita and Megha. So Kavita, we have seen Microsoft invest heavily in OpenAI, and it may or may not be working out. I want to know what is Dell doing in its products and services in integrating AI? And to Megha, the question is, what is Nasdaq doing in terms of using generative AI for market surveillance or risk management? That's what I wanted to know.
So the first one, what is Dell doing, right? So I'll try my level best not to use the jargon, but I think from Dell, if we see our journey, and I say journey because I have been with Dell for 21 years. So I have seen that half-cycled technology, right? That it used to take 20 years or 12 years for things to change. Then it went to 7 to 8, and now it's 1 year. When you talk about Dell specifically, we're actually looking at how is it, we have 4 parameters, right? AI in, AI on, AI for, AI with. Simple. You need to have AI in all our products. If you're talking about software, you're talking about storage, server, networking, at the end of the day, the hardware is the hardware. Just to your point, right? It's a software which is going to add value. How is it that you create that culture? How is it that you build it? Internal hackathons, external hackathons, and you don't just do it once a year event, right? It has to be continuous with everything that you do. So that's about the products. Then about AI on all our processes, right? Again, growth happened organically or inorganically, right? We have 100 million tools with us. How do you tie all of them together? Your own processes need to work for your customer to have the best experience possible or maximum ROI. AI with our partners, right? Again, the same thing, collaboration. I can't say I know everything on this planet. You have to work with people who have the expertise, and you have to accept it that they have it. Don't reinvent the wheel, work with them. And AI for our customers in everything that we do. I think that's where I will put it, but all of it happens that you need to understand the talent. The talent is there in your organization. You just need to figure out how is it that you get them to work with it, not just literacy, faster. So does that answer your question, my friend? Thanks.
So I'll be quick. I know Megha's looking at me. So I think for Nasdaq, opening up to AI is I think far more difficult given I think the security of the data and the markets that we control. Saying that, it's not that we don't have AI. We have our own internal Gen AI platform which employees use to create assets, create tools and all of that. But that's more internal, that's more experimental, that's more for hackathons, that's more for building the AI muscle in the organization. But there are products where we have AI, which is our board products, which is basically nothing but document summarization, reporting. So the board, various boards that meet, they have a summary of the documents that I'll be reading, or they can prompt and get some answers. We are doing it in QA. Again, we're doing it not just in the marketplace is probably going to be one of the last to adopt, but we have fintech products and board products and some of the other surveillance products, which are still very nascent, and we would probably have those kind of come up in the next year.
Thank you both.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.